Hey folks, Matt here from Sailing Vessel Perry. We've gotten a few requests for video walkthroughs and video phone conferences, so we thought we'd just sort of do a video walkthrough for you to show you the main highlights of the vessel, and you can get a sense that you might not be able to get from just the photos. So anyway, get ready for a bit of fun and a walkthrough. So this is the front of the boat, and you'll see we got some really nice high bridge deck clearance underneath the boat, so it keeps the slamming down to a minimum, a lot higher than most cats. Just kind of walk alongside here. These hulls were freshly painted, all grip. This one was just actually painted in Trinidad a month or two ago. Other side was painted in Malaysia about 2 years ago. And we'll walk back here, show you the stern with the davits and the dinghy. Dinghy's about going on, 3-4 years old. It's a Highfield 3.4. It's got a almost new Yamaha 15 horse Enduro 2-stroke. Great little dinghy. All right. So, come on. We'll show you the cockpit here. Nice big cockpit, couple of tables, plenty of seating for folks, big lounge areas along the side if sitting in the sun is your thing. Some more seating along here. Oops, sorry. And then here's our instrument controls at our helm. Some add-on solar covers to keep the heat down. Wow, this is really hot in the sun here. We've got chart plotter at the helm. This repeats or controls and is networked into the chart plotter at the nav station. This is a multi-function display, shows you wind, speed, depth, whatever you want it to. This is the autopilot head. And this is the secondary autopilot head. So there's actually two separate autopilots on this boat, which is, if you're planning to cross oceans, is something you absolutely really should consider having, because if one goes down and you're 2 weeks out from someplace, man, I tell you, hand steering for 2 weeks is nobody's idea of fun. All right, so the hardtop, you can walk on it, makes it a snap to get at the boom to zip up the stack pack. I weigh, unfortunately, north of 200 pounds these days, and it supports my weight just fine. Good handholds all the way along, so when you're underway, easy to walk around the boat. The solar panels, that's 4 times 215, I believe. So it's like 860 watts of solar, and we will, if we need to, we can produce upwards of like 350, 370 amp hours in a day. We usually only produce about 300 because that's all the batteries need to completely top up. So we rarely, if ever, run the generator for the house bank. We'll run the generator to make water, because the water maker is 230 volts, and that's a 35 gallon an hour water maker, or to run the dive generator, dive compressor, which is actually in this hatch here. I can show you. This is also 230, and let's see, there you go. So it's a Bauer 2 Junior, and there's also dive tanks. Safety parachute anchor is down there with 100 meters of road for the anchor. Lots of spare halyards and line of all different types in here. There's a dedicated airline hose here that you can just tap into a scuba tank with, and that allows you to clean the bottom without having to put a BCD on it. It's about 75 feet of airline hose, so you just pop that in your mouth and scrub away. Also in here is the spinnakers. We've got a quantum sail asymmetric spinnaker. There's also an older symmetrical spinnaker in there also. All right, so ground tackle here we've got 105-pound Mantis, new generation anchor. This thing is great, never drags. There's a 35-kilo Bruce as a backup. Primary is 3/8 inch G43 Italian chain, 100 meters of that. And the backup has got, I think, about 100 feet of stainless chain on it. And then another 200 feet of nylon rode. There's also a small backup stern anchor in there. The furler for our head sail. You up to the mast where you can see the radar reflector and the radar unit. These hatches here have got, this one's got spare water jugs and dock lines in it. The one on the other side is where we keep all the dinghy fuel. Both of those drain to the outside of the boat, so keeping fuel in there is not a problem. Here's our mast. So the main setup on 2-to-1 block. Stack pack was just restitched and renewed in South Africa earlier this year. Some nice mast steps, makes it easy to get to the top of the stack pack and tidy everything up. We do have a track on the mast for the pole that we use quite often. We actually prefer and are faster to go dead downwind, running wing on wing, with a pole pulled out to the opposite side of the main. And it's also a very safe way to do it because even if a squall comes up and the wind increases suddenly, you can just furl in the head sail and the pole goes right along with it. And you don't have to worry about being caught out like with a spinnaker trying to get that down. So in the tropics anyway, we use the pole a lot. Let's see. So all the big windows you can see are covered in this 95%, I think it's called Furtex sunscreen, but it keeps all the sun and the UV out of the boat, and so it prevents the boat from getting super hot inside, which is a good thing. All right. Now the both sides of the hardtop have got this little tube running alongside of it that catches rainwater, and it's not installed right now, but we have hosing that fits on the end here, and we can either catch it into buckets or the hosing goes out and it goes straight into a filter and inside into one of the water tanks. So if you're in an area that's really rainy, like we've been in a few spots, you basically don't even need to run the water maker because you can certainly keep up with just drinking the rainwater. Alright, so here's from the other side. As long as we're outside, we'll do engine rooms. Before we go down the engine room, just so you know, we've got a fishing reel mounted here, permanently mounted, makes it easy to catch your fish. Let's see, it's kind of hard to see, but there is a shower. There's actually two showers. There's one that's a fresh or a cold water only shower, but then there's also a dual fixture one that has hot and cold. So we take most of our showers out on the swim steps just because we want to keep the moisture out of the boat. All right, let's see. So here you got quadrant with the RAM for the autopilot. It gets kind of dark in there, but you can see that's a linear Type 2 RAM. Here is the water maker with the high pressure pump. The membranes are in here, pre-filters back through here, control panel here, cruise RO. Membranes are still pumping out good water after 10 years, pretty amazing. Probably getting time to replace them though. we do have 2 spares on board, so if you don't like the water the way it is, you could always change the membrane. So here's the main engine. It's a Kubota block. It was originally marinized by Phaser, but we've had to change a few components on it, and usually we go to Beta to get the components because they use these same Kubota blocks to build their Beta engines. So we find Beta was a little bit easier to deal with. So this actually heat exchanger here says Beta on it, but either way, it's Kubota, 45 horse, dual ray cores. Start battery over there in the corner. Do have in both engine rooms there is a fire suppression system that is not on most boats, but this can be actually triggered by a pull cord inside the aft cabins, or it'll automatically trigger if the temperature gets high enough to melt the little plastic stopper thing. So it does automatically activate in the event of a fire in here. Let's see, this is the house water filter. So everything that comes through the faucets, every single faucet in the boat has been run through a charcoal activated filter. This is our house water pump. And let's see what else is down here. That's about it. Let's see. Yep, that's about it. Don't want to get too deep in the weeds. Here's the primary autopilot core pack. All right. Have a quick peek in the other engine room. Pretty similar, but this one's got the generator in it instead of the water maker. Pardon me for making you dizzy as I'm banging the camera around. Okay, so here's the other quadrant and the other autopilot arm. And then here's the other, this is the older autopilot core pack. But on this side we have our, kind of hard to see, there's not a lot of room to back up here. Our solar controller on the left. So it's an MMPT controller, and we have dual Stirling power battery chargers. They're 60 amps each, so when the generator's running, the battery's needed, it's pumping out about 120 amps. Here's our other engine. This side, the other engine has got just a regular 60 amp alternator on it. This one's got a 100 amp high output Balmar alternator with the 614 smart controller that's mounted up on the wall there. So this one puts out a lot more juice, and it also regulates it a bit better because it monitors the battery voltage. So the battery bank is in here on this side as well. Here's our generator. The generator is a Northern Lights 5 kilowatt. It was rebuilt. I don't know how many hours are on this thing totally, but just before we bought the boat, it was completely rebuilt. And since the rebuild, they reset the engine hours, and we're at about 1,600 engine hours on the generator. And then I don't know if I've mentioned the engine hours on the engines, but they're just clicked over 2,000 about a week ago. I don't know what they're at right now. Next week I'll look at the panel as we come up out of the engine room. Anyway, that is our other engine room. All right. Blowers in both engine rooms, which is nice because it keeps it nice and cool. All right. So let's see. So here's the panel. And let's see, we have 2,000, I don't know if you can see that, 2,038 hours on that engine. And the other one will say 16 something, but it's actually the engine hour counter had to be replaced at some point. So we lost about 350 engine hours on the counter. So the other one's not quite accurate, but we know how much it should have on there. And so they're both at around 2,000. All right, so come on in, and here's our main salon area. A lot of seating, 2 big tables, a lot of storage in both of these. This has got a pull-out bar with some stuff in it. Not enough stuff. Flat screen TV to watch all your movies on. And here's our nav station. And electrical panels. And so at the nav station we've got a big E127 chart plotter. We've got the little gray unit next to it without the screen cover on it. That's the dedicated AIS unit that also functions as a anchor alarm, and it draws very, very little power, so the anchor watch stays on all the time, or the AIS unit stays on all the time. VHF, generator control, start controls there. Have gauges for all 4 fuel tanks and 2 water tanks. This is our solar controller repeater. It's like right now we're at float and we're only generating 6 amps because it only needs 6 amps to keep up with the house load. Right now it doesn't look like any of the refrigerators are on right now, so house load is really low. Here's our panel. The chair is a nice office chair, and it's bolted down, so it's not going anywhere, so you feel nice and stable even if it's a little bouncy. Let's see, that's the view looking out. All right, and so this is the nacelle. So this is the center cabin. This is actually the cabin that used to be used for the crew and the captain if this boat was to be used for chartering purposes. They'd have 4 paying couples in each of the main cabins, and the captain and crew would be in here. It's not a whole lot of headroom, so you're kind of hunched over if you're in there, but the bed in there is big. Unfortunately, right now we use it as kind of a garage. There's a lot of storage of spare parts and bits and bobs and stuff in there, but there's also plenty of storage in the cabinets here. There's a little sink in here with storage underneath. This door here used to be a head for the crew, and now it's it's the tool locker. I don't know if that's focusing or not because it's pretty dark. Let's see. I don't know if you can see in there, but it's we've got a big tool chest, and that's where all of our tools reside. All right, let's see. Okay. All right, so let's come on down to the galley. And you can see it's a galley down, but this is all an open space all through here. So I'm standing, right next to the table, and the stove is right there. So if there is somebody cooking in the galley, it's not like they're completely cut off from the rest of the boat. And I know some people really have strong feelings on galley up versus galley down, but we actually kind of like the fact that it's down here and it's a nice space to work on, and you got plenty of countertop space, and it kind of keeps the mess down here. So anyway, we like the way it works, and we hang our pots from the hook over there. But anyway, these some of the cabinets, that's where we keep our plates, that's where we keep our glasses. And as you can see, these doors don't they stay up, but they don't latch closed, so that'll tell you all you need to know about the stability of a multi-hull when you don't have to worry about dishes flying out of cabinets. It's kind of nice. Freezer in here, top mounting freezer or top loading freezer. Refrigerator here. Big fridge, so plenty of space in there. Okay, lots of cabinet space in here. Pull out cabinet doors. We had that custom built, so you won't find another privilege with that. It's garbage. There's actually space underneath the garbage here. Underneath, if you pull the whole thing out, it comes out, and there's probably you could fit about 4 or 5 cases of beer down in there without problem. Plenty of drawers for keeping your stuff in. That's the freezer controls right there. This used to be another refrigerator, but gosh, you know, who needs more than one big one? We didn't. The compressor wasn't working anyway when we bought the boat, so we just kind of tossed the compressor and we use it for storage. All right, so let me show you. Probably should start with our side of the boat, but we'll start you with the kids' side. And nice big queen size bunk, nice hatch overhead, plenty of airflow through here. Little countertop space here that of course has got Lego on it because it's the kids. Big closets. And they actually have such big closets they don't even need all the closet space, so we kind of co-opted some of their closet space for some of the kitchen stuff that we keep in here. But all right. Also, I'll show you down here. There's more storage along here. There's also big bins in here to keep toys and Nerf guns. All right, so the 2 forward cabins both have a dedicated shower stall in it. So this is a shower stall, little bench there if you need it. Hatch out there. But honestly, like I was saying, we don't use the inside showers all that much if we can avoid it, just because it keeps the moisture out of the boat, and it, you know, you don't have to constantly be battling mold issues. All right, so there's sink. All the fixtures have been replaced in the last year. The old ones were working fine, but they were kind of like this. I can show you this. This is the shower. And it's an original one. It works just fine. It's actually a good, heavy, beefy unit, but you know, you can see it's got a little bit of surface corrosion on there, so it's just looking a little tired. Same with the faucets before, but we replaced them with some nice units that we found, and so they all look pretty now. There's the head, full size toilet seat head, not the mini ones you find on boats sometimes. This one's electric. Actually, all 3 of the main cabins are electric. The 4th guest cabin we kept as a manual just in case we ever, I guess, needed it because the electricity went out on the boat, but that's never happened. So guess some people like to see bilges, so here's one of the bilges. That's where the freezer compressor is. Now that's running now. And let's see. Just so you can see what it looks like in here. The through hulls. So we replaced all the through hulls on this boat back in 2017, I believe, with the True Design through hulls that are composite fiberglass through hulls. They do not corrode. They do not electrolyze. They do not have to be bonded. They don't seize up. They're really quite nice. Come over to the other side. So on this side, it's pretty much a mirror image, but instead of a galley, we have lots of storage. Shelves, storage stuff, spotlights, flares, emergency plugs, all sorts of things in there. This is the guest bedroom. It's kind of being used as a pillow storage receptacle at the moment, I guess. There are the spare membranes for the water maker back there. But all the bedrooms got a lot of light, a lot of hatches, so you get a lot of breeze. This is one of our son's shrimp tank. So again, that'll tell you about a little bit about the stability of a catamaran when you can keep a fish tank on board without having water everywhere. All right, let's see. Here's the guest head. This is the manual one. hallway. This door here used to be a shower for the crew because they just had a little bathroom upstairs. We've converted it into a closet. We put in shelves, and this is where that's some of the hosing for the water maker setup I was telling you about. This is where all our scuba gear is and fishing gear, but it's sort of a wet locker kind of setup that we got going on now. This gives us some added storage space, but it is still plumbed. There is still a water source here, so if you ever wanted to put a washer dryer combo in, this would be a good option perhaps to put it in because there's water plumbed right to it. Okay, so let's see here. We'll need a light for this, but this is our electrical panel stuff. So this is all the 12 volt. Is it not focusing? There we go. All the 12 volt circuit breakers for the whole boat. This is the 230 circuit breakers, and then the 120 is serviced by this. This is the 120 2000 watt inverter, Xantrex model. And then all the wiring goes on up there, and it's mostly tidy, but man, it's a lot of wiring, so it can get a bit gnarly at points. I'll show you up here. This is the back of all the switch panels. Sorry, let's see. Let me try and get a better focus. There we go. So all the wiring harnesses, all the connection points. Got some spare lights and spare bulbs in here. Some other spares from the other direction here. So anyway, that's that. And then the rest of these are all sort of just storage. We got a lot of camera gear in this one, some underwater camera gear. And this one, we just got lots of spares in this one. And spare pumps, spare controllers for the fridge, a little bit of a medical kit in there. And this side, it goes back pretty far. It's a pretty big compartment in here. So, spare fan, that's where the fan is, all right. Blankets and towels, and this one I think has got games and other stuff in it, kid stuff, foul weather gear, and things. Not that we've ever used the foul weather gear. That is foul weather gear that has literally gone around the world and not been worn. Who needs foul weather gear in the tropics, right? All right. Okay, and then so in here is the master, but it's just a carbon copy of the other side, so there's no real master about it. It just means there's no Legos. But again, storage in here. Well, messy. Well, focus doesn't seem to be going great. So here, let's talk about this for a quick second. So this is the manual bilge. Both hulls on both sides have both an automatic, one's I think 1,500 gallon per hour, the other one's a 2,000 gallon per hour bilge pump that's automatic, but there's also these whale gusher manual pumps as well. So if the automatic ones ever fail, you've got that as a backup. Same thing in the engine rooms. Both engine rooms have 2,000 gallon per hour automatic bilge pumps in them, but they also have on the deck two receptacles like that where you can manually pump out the engine room too if anything was ever to happen and the primary bilge pumps fail. All right, so bathroom, again, just the same as the other side. Electric head, new faucet, shower. What's in this one? No beer in this one. All right, and then so pull out drawers, lots of storage in here, clothing storage all in here, and here. I mean, you can see we've actually got so much clothing storage that half these compartments have other stuff in it. This is actually a red well of all the manuals for all the equipment on the boat. All right. So yeah, each cabin has a air conditioning vent in it, and there's also 2 vents in the center that blow air into the center portion of the boat. So the starboard side air conditioner is working just fine. The port side air conditioner, the control panel seems to be having an issue. I honestly just didn't check it till the last week. It was working 10 years ago when we bought the boat. It looks like the little panel has died that controls the thing, so we'll have to investigate to see if that can get working again, but that's why I listed the boat as only having 1 air conditioner. It's probably a pretty easy fix to fix it, but this wasn't on our radar for a while since we never used the air conditioner, because the air conditioner requires running the generator, and the generator, is a bit noisy, and frankly, if you're at anchor, the breeze is usually pretty nice, and it's pretty comfortable, and you don't need to burn diesel just to stay cool. There's a nice breeze. Let's see. Hang on a second. Let's see. Some of my son's shrimp gear down here. Here's the other bilge. You can't see anything. Let's see if we can turn the light on. There we go. So that's the light. So again, here's the bilge. Typically pretty dry. The only time we have any water in the bilges is when we're in really rough seas and the waves are splashing against the bilge pump outlets, in which case the waves push in through the outlet and come then into the bilge, which is funny enough that it's the piece of equipment that's supposed to keep the boat dry that makes it wet. But the American yachting standards are that you can't have a non-return valve on the bilge pumps, so unfortunately that happens sometimes. I've considered putting those non-return valves in there just anyway, and that might be something that you'd want to do. All right, let's see. So that's pretty much it. I think you've seen the whole thing. So I see the speaker there in the distance. So we do have a Fusion stereo system that has both speakers inside and outside, and you can control the volume separately for the indoor set versus the outdoor set. Handheld VHFs. There's probably a bunch of stuff I'm missing. I mean, this boat's got lots and lots and lots of good stuff on it. So, but hopefully that addressed most of the questions you guys might have, and you've been able to see it, and a picture is worth 1,000 words, and maybe a video is worth 1,000 pictures. I don't know, but hope you've enjoyed it. Hope I haven't babbled too much for you, but if you'd like to see the boat, give us a shout, and we'll let you know where we are. All right, cheers.